Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Think Big with Michael Zellner, all positive, no politics. My guest today is Braden Wallake. Braden is the Chief Executive Officer of Columbus-based Ohio Hypersocial. Through social media, Hypersocial brings businesses and their ideal customers together for a return on investment that has their clients coming back to them each month with higher revenues and better closing ratios. Welcome to the show, Braden.
Hey, thanks for not introducing me as the crying CEO. I appreciate that.
Not a problem at all.
Appreciate that.
So, even though a lot has come out, obviously, about you in the last several days, tell us something interesting about yourself that most people don't know.
Ooh, something that most people don't know. So what we just talked about, Michael, I think is a fair spot to start. Is I went to Ohio State. I dropped out a couple of times, but going to Ohio State, I've still been a Michigan fan since early on. And that's probably one of the hardest things I ever did was go to Ohio State, be at the dorms, and just be like, yeah, okay, like please don't beat me up. Like I'm not I'm just not gonna tell anybody. So yeah, Michigan fan, living in Columbus, Ohio, which has its own weird part of life, I guess.
Your company has been around, I believe, almost 6 years now, and you were around 26 years old when it started, and I believe you said you dropped out of college 4 or 5 times. How did you come up with the idea for Hypersocial, and what were you wanting to do to help companies of all different sizes?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I come from a B2B sales background. I used to do a lot of door knocking, a lot of cold calling for commercial insurance, commercial construction. I've done some B2C kind of sales too for residential roofing. So shortly after I was doing that, I got into Instagram somehow. Got into the world of Instagram back when it was a lot more fun than it is now. Right. Started growing my own Instagram account for a project that I was working on, and it went really well. And we kind of got some notoriety around it. And I said, hey, there's probably something here that we could do for people. So that's when I started the old Hypersocial was around that. It was kind of stumbled on by accident. Right. While I was just hanging out with some other entrepreneurs and we were just working on a separate project. And that's kind of how the original Hypersocial got going.
How did you transform it into what it is now?
Yeah. So fast forward from 2016 to 2019. Well, so at the beginning of Hypersocial, I recently just got my car repossessed. I recently just gotten evicted from my apartment. So I bought like a $500 Kia. Was living out of it with my dog while we started the old Hypersocial. But I got a job offer or an offer from a hotel in the Dominican to come stay there for free in exchange for marketing services. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll be there. So I ended up doing that for an entire year. I did 2 months in Dominican, I did 4 months in Ecuador, and 4 months in Costa Rica, and then 2 months in Nicaragua. While I was traveling, though, I started getting into LinkedIn myself because I realized all my clients that I wanted to have were back in the US. So I started getting into LinkedIn and started building out the book of business that I had then with, the types of people that wanted to, grow Instagram accounts, things like that. So fast forward to 2019, Instagram changes their algorithm. I stopped enjoying it so much because a lot of our clients were, I don't know, fashion bloggers and that kind of stuff. And I have no idea anything fashion. Like I wear a t-shirt and athletic shorts every single day and a lot of soccer jerseys is pretty much my entire outfit. So my girlfriend actually graduated from Ohio State. She is a Buckeyes fan, by the way. So house divided. I said, hey, we're going to get a van and we're going to build Hypersocial. And she reluctantly decided that, yeah, okay, let's, I'm going to come join Hypersocial. We bought a van out of a company in Kansas City. And we basically fired all of the old clients and said, hey, we're going to start fresh. We're going to start over from zero to focus on the LinkedIn and on the B2B space. And we did that basically ever since. We just finally are putting our van up for sale right now because we've been in it for the last 2.5 years and are finally looking to, settle down here a bit more in Columbus and see what the next phase of life takes us.
How was it like living in a van? I can't even imagine that.
So let's say it was 85-90% positive. Because we've been to 27 national parks in the last 2.5 years. We lived in we did Baja, Mexico earlier this year, 3 months there, just living like basically we got to stay on the beach for free. We got to do all kinds of adventures. We picked up mountain biking along the way, and my dog loves, he's a little corgi, but he loves hiking. So all the hikes that we got to do, he went to the top of Mount Whitney with us. He's done,
Cool.
which is the highest peak in the lower 48. And he's done so many mountains with me. So it was kind of a great experience. However, 80 square feet of living space with you and a significant other and a dog is a very small amount of space. So, and basically our bed switches into a desk every single day, kind of like we take the mattress and the stuff off, and then the bed itself actually folds in half because our desk. I like to talk a lot on Zoom. She has some Zoom calls herself, so it's kind of like, hey, who's going to go work outside today? So there was some, annoyances there, but for the most part, I mean, it was great. It was such a good experience. This last time we traveled with friends for the 3 months in Baja, and they had their own dog too. So it was, it's fun because you get to have your weekends not in Ohio.
Right.
You get to have them on the beach or in the mountains or wherever else you want to be. But with its hardships too, the amount of times I've spent yelling at the Wi-Fi or the cell phone signal for not working so that we could work, or amount of calls I've been kicked off on, has been plenty of challenges there. But with the good comes the bad, of course.
How did you and your girlfriend meet?
Good question. So while I was traveling in 2017, my dog and I were on a hike in Nicaragua, and he kind of did like this like high pitched squeal thing, and I originally thought he stepped on a thorn or something and he just hurt himself. Later that day, he lost the ability to walk in his back legs. Like he was just like hiding away from me, shaking, and I had no idea what was going on. Finally ended up getting him. We were not in a main city either in Nicaragua, so I finally got into a main city. He actually pulled a disc or whatever, slipped a disc in his back. So I brought him back to Ohio to give him the surgery that he needed. And by the way, he's fully walking now, happy as can be.
Awesome.
Back to 100%, or we'll say 99%. But while I was back, so the place he had his surgery was on OSU's campus, their emergency vet center, and she had just visited her brother in Ecuador, which is where a place that I'd lived the previous year, and we had a picture together. So we were both on Bumble. Her friends convinced her to get Bumble for a week. We both had a picture at the same really not that traveled to lake in Ecuador. So that was the conversation starter. But while I was actually down taking Roscoe to the vet, turns out she was studying animal science and she was in the building right next door. So we decided to go, based on Bumble conversation, we decided to go do Panera as our first date. And 3 hours later, we were still chatting. So she kind of, I don't know, we've been together basically ever since, kind of nonstop.
I do not believe in coincidences at all. I've said that on several podcasts when I hear stories, not like this, but similar kind of stories.
Sure.
And that happened. There's no doubt all that happened the way it was supposed to happen. Even as horrible as it was with your dog, that happening. I mean, thankfully Roscoe's okay now.
Yeah.
But as horrible as that was, if that hadn't happened, there probably would not have been you guys.
I know. I still would have been traveling for sure. I would not have come back to the US. I still had plans to go to Guatemala and even further up Nicaragua, and continuing to travel through Mexico and everything on the way back. And it wouldn't have happened had he not gotten hurt. So not thankful that he got hurt, thankful for the situation that resolved itself the way it did. And I got to meet Emily along the way.
And you sound like me. Obviously your dog is, your best friend. And, I have 3 miniature schnauzers, and, a few of mine over the years, they've had to have some surgeries, like got stones in their stomach. And I remember the first time one of mine, Georgie, had to have stomach surgery. It was like 8 years ago. And they were like, okay, it's going to cost like $1,000 to remove the stones. And I was like, okay, like you're asking me if I'm going to pay that money.
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, yeah. And then, all right, we'll call you when it's over with. What do you mean call me when it's over with? I'm not leaving.
Sitting outside. Right. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you said it's going to be 30 minutes anyway. I said, he's going to know I'm here. I mean, right. So, I mean, we go 100%. To lengths like that. And Absolutely. For you to come all the way back to, Columbus to take care of that obviously shows, your true love of dogs. And I say people that do not have animals, they're missing out.
I agree. I don't think living in the van and most of life, so I found him on the side of a highway like 8 years ago now. And I don't think much life would be nearly as fun as it is without him. Right. At Hypersocial, we call him our CFO, our chief fun officer, because he always makes sure that we're not just working too hard, that we are taking our breaks and going to have fun and going to play fetch and going on hikes and stuff like that. So he's the best part. Sorry, Emily. he's the best part of life. And I think, and Emily would agree with that too. Just he makes everything so much. Every time we get to a new location, he's so excited and so stoked about it. He runs all over the van. Is like, let's go, like let's do whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine not having Roscoe in my life.
Right. And we owe it to them to give them the best life possible. That's how
Agreed.
I feel like we do.
Agreed.
I mean, and as hard as it is, it's the worst feeling in the world when they pass, because I've lost several in my life. You still owe it to them to be there all the way till the end.
I agree.
And they're definitely worth it.
I agree. I have spent way too much time thinking about the day that Roscoe passes, and spent way too many days, as stupid as this sounds, as the crying CEO. I've cried about the thought of Roscoe passing many times. And I know I'm still 6 years, if not more, from it, because he hasn't graded at all at being 9 years old. He hasn't really slowed down too much. He doesn't love walks as much as he used to. If it's the same walk he's done the last few days, he's gonna become a spoiled brat that way. But other than that, like, he's still just amped as can be. So even though I know I've got a long time left with him, it still just breaks my heart thinking about it.
Yep, me too. I know exactly how you feel, but I do everything. I even brush my dog's teeth. I mean, I'll do everything I can to try to make their lives as long as possible.
That's great. That's
after, watching your video last week and reading the comments, I posted something about, taking personal responsibility in today's world. I said that I believe that unfortunately many people, in the world today just will not take personal responsibility for their own actions. And a lot of people, unfortunately, see themselves in that victimhood mentality. Why do you think that is? And what can society do to change it a little bit?
Well, I think it is because it's easy. It's the easiest way. Like, you see all kinds of memes across social media, and you see all kinds of people saying, I am the way I am, and that's the way you have to accept me. Right. Because that doesn't mean you have to grow as a person. Like, you can say, yeah, I'm an asshole, and you got to get used to the fact I'm an asshole. And I'm just like, no, well, no, like, you could just try to not be, but that takes growth. That takes desire to get out of your comfort zone. It's easy to be who you are and use it as an excuse, but you're going to get a lot more out of life if you recognize who you are, love who you are, and try to improve who you are every single day. And so I really do think it comes from just a desire for a comfortable life where people don't challenge you, and you don't have to challenge yourself to grow either. That's where it all stems from.
So many people today are really afraid of full transparency on social media, and letting people, get to know the real them. The only post and share, they only post and share what they want people to know, or or what they think might make them look good. Many people, especially a lot of men today, are afraid to open up because they, think it'll make them look less, look weak, less cool, not macho. In reality, opening up and letting someone see the real you is actually, it means you're stronger inside. Don't you think that's right?
Absolutely. I mean, someone commented on my post and said anybody can post a picture of himself crying for likes, and I said, like, why not do it? Like, go do it. Like, please do it, and I'll support you.
Right.
But it's not easy for people to see that side of you. And by releasing that emotion and by letting people see that side, and by having, whether you do it on public on social media, or whether you do it in private with the conversation that you have with your people that you care about, opening up to that vulnerability, letting those emotions go, lets you be stronger down the road. If I can cry for 30 minutes after, get that out of my system, I don't have that sadness holding me down anymore. I've got that sadness out, and now I've got the ability to say, okay, the sadness is gone. What do I do next? How do I help whatever? How do I help myself not feel like this? Like, I think by releasing those emotions, that we actually get to be better humans because of it. And for the males who, and especially males who don't want to see them, be seen as vulnerable on social media, I mean, I think it makes sense. Social media is kind of a snapshot of your real life. You can't post everything that you want to on social media. You've got to, post snippets, right? You can't just live stream your video all day, every day. This isn't whatever, the Truman Show, where your life is constantly being streamed to the whole world. But I think it's important to not just put the good snapshots too, because you're not just experiencing happiness. You're not just experiencing wins. You're experiencing ups and downs. And every single person is experiencing downs. There's nobody who's just up in life. And if there was, I'll be one of them, because I am very happy. I love laughing at basically every situation that happens. I was the kid in school when I was getting yelled at by teachers. I was trying not to laugh. I was trying not to smile. And, we have a weekly call as our team of like, what our wins were from the previous week, personal and business wise. And we want to start everything with positivity, but they're still not just facing wins. It's not just wins in life. And the rags to riches stories are great, but they still went through the rags to get to the riches.
And you brought up a great point. You said to that guy, hey, go ahead, cry, see if you can do it. Let me tell you something. I tried. After that happened last week and I saw some of those posts, that's what I tried to do. And I'm a really emotional guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I don't apologize for that at all. It's got me hurt in my life, but it's still worth it, in my opinion, to be that way than to be the complete opposite. But I tried to think of negative things. I tried to think, of bad things that could happen. I couldn't do it. And just on cue that way. And I mentioned that in my post that, maybe some really, really good actors and actresses can do it, but just to be able to cry on cue, even just thinking of sad things, it has to be so hard. I couldn't do it. And I thought I was going to be able to, but I wasn't able to do it.
I'm fully on board. Like, if I've had plenty of people call them crocodile tears or whatever, and call them what they want, but it came from a real place where I just spent the previous 30-45 minutes crying. And that's right. I took that picture at kind of when I was done, but yeah, it's not easy to cry on demand. Like, sure, you can use onions, or you can use pinch yourself method, or whatever it is. The amount of countless methods that I've gotten of what I was doing instead of actually just crying is kind of wild. I mean, people are geniuses at the way that they figured out how humans can cry besides actually crying.
Exactly. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm good. I was really going to go to nothing.
So, you post this, heartfelt video, and, last week, and after having to let a couple of people go, and now let me tell you something. I realized that, and these people are not thinking about this, and if they are, they just don't want to admit it. You had no earthly idea that this video was going to go viral, and it was going to get as much attention as it did when you did this. There's just no way to know that. As many people post videos, and what it takes for something to go viral is just unbelievable. I mean, it's not like you have this huge company, you have over 100,000 followers or anything. When it first started to get out there more and everything and was going viral, what was going through your mind?
I don't know. I sat there, posted it, and I kind of spent the rest of the night just staring at this thing. One, I was responding to a lot of the comments that were coming in pretty quickly in terms of, whatever, the nice comments, the mean comments, whatever. Sure. I spent a lot of time responding to those that first night, but I was watching it and I was like, 1 million, like, before I went to bed that first night, I had 1 million views on it. And I was like, okay, this is bizarre. Nothing I've ever had has had 1 million people looking at it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn posts don't really go viral like this.
Right.
And then the next day I woke up and it was at like 3 million. And there was a ton more comments and a ton more shares. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was just kind of sitting here. And I went up to Emily, who's working in the upstairs bedroom. And I was like, I may have gone viral last night. And she's like, okay. So I told her a little bit about it. And then I told our head of marketing, Lizzie, I was like, so I'm viral last night. And normally I've said I've gone viral like once before. Well, yeah. So one was like a TikTok video of me and Emily, of me just messing with her. And that one got, I don't know, 1 million plays on it or something on TikTok. But when Lizzie saw the actual virality that had gone, and then there was the first news article. I don't remember who it was. There was the first article that wasn't on LinkedIn. And I was like, wait, what? So since then, I've done nothing but been able to just laugh at the situation. Because, like, yeah, you're right. When I posted it, I have 22,000 connections on LinkedIn, and I didn't post it on Instagram where I have, I don't know, 35,000 followers. Nothing like absorbent, or exorbitant. That's the word I was looking for, not absorbent. Nothing crazy. I posted it because I thought some other business owners who are going through tough times may appreciate it, and I thought I was going to be seen by a few people like most of my LinkedIn posts do. And then it just kept going and it kept going. And now we're at, I don't know, 13.5 million views on it. And I've been on every single news site there is, BuzzFeed, Fox Business. none of it was expected. I mean, none of the hate, none of the nasty comments, none of the virality, none of it was expected when I made that post. That was not the purpose of making it. If I had known it was going to go viral, well, one, I would have been a lot smarter than I am, which is the constant joke that I keep making, is people are giving me way too much credit for my intelligence level. And two, I would have planned a lot better for what happened afterwards, because I'm still just winging it. I'm still just like, hey, all right, well, I don't know what to do now, but let's do this and let's do that and let's try a follow-up post. Okay, that one didn't go well. All right. It's just been kind of a wild ride, and it's been good. Because one of the employees who was willing to be, named by name. I shared a post about him, and he's had a ton of job offers because of it. His inbox is full of job offers. Our sales team has an entirely full schedule this week of potential prospects who would have probably never heard about Hypersocial had this not happened. And not that I would ever try to do anything like that again in an attempt for virality, because it's been just crazy. I've had family members and friends just like, hey, are you doing okay? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I've had people threaten me. I've had, all kinds of weird messages and weird comments of people who think they know everything about me. But mostly from what I've seen, it's just been a positive. It's been a positive thing, and I think it's opened up a lot of conversation about what makes a CEO, what is a CEO, why should CEOs have emotions, or why should they not have emotions? Why should they share this, not share this? It's opened up a lot of conversations that I think have been healthy to have.
Yeah. And
all right, that was a long-winded answer.
No, that's question. Exactly what I wanted. And that's exactly the truth. Like I said, it goes back to, there was no way all these people all these negative comments and telling you what you should have done, what you shouldn't have done. There's no way you would have known on the front end this was going to go viral and that you would have this kind of reaction. So they can say what they want, but unfortunately, going into my next question is, we live in a really, negative, very negative society. I mean, there's so many people out there that they sit online all day long ready to pounce on people that post something they don't agree with, or they feel that person has an agenda, like, things that you've heard for their posts, when, whether it's done over video, audio, or it's something written down, these people actually think it's their job, or at least some of them do, to police the internet, and some of them just can't even imagine someone doing what you did and doing it for the right and genuine reasons. Why do you believe that is?
I think it's much deeper than I will ever know. I think we've known that negativity loves company, or misery loves company, is the old quote. We've had documentaries come out on how YouTube and Facebook have ruined the lives of people for their own personal gain, because attention is the currency. And I can't speak to algorithms. I can't speak to any of that stuff, because I have no idea how any of that stuff really, really, really works. I can speak to the people that I've listened to talk about it. There's a reason I don't run Facebook ads, because I don't want to contribute to that. There's a reason I don't run YouTube ads or Google ads. There's a reason everything we've done as a company has been organic. And why we generally use LinkedIn for that is because LinkedIn does have this thing of being a more positive social media platform. But there are powers much bigger, much smarter, much wealthier than I will ever be, that have figured out how our brains work and figured out what's going to keep our attention on social media, because they get paid dollars from marketing, from people who want to market on their platforms to keep people on their platform, and they'll put whatever goes forward to keep those people there. As for the individuals who spend their time there, I don't know. I don't know the countless people who have given me such hatred on my post, why they have elected to go that route. I can't speak. I imagine there's something about that post that has triggered something inside of them, that there's a song that I listened to. It says, it says, "Hi, comment section. Did you know your words describe you and not me? And bounce back, because in life we project our insecurities on people we wish we could be." And I think that's where this post may have resonated with a lot of people. Is, I don't know what insecurities people face. I imagine being jobless is tough. I imagine being on a job hunt for a long time is tough. I imagine that there's a lot of tough situations in life, and we are trying to put someone else down so we can raise ourselves up because we don't know what else to do. Because we've never had those vulnerable conversations. We've never had those real conversations of, hey, professional, hey, friend, whoever it is that you need to talk to about, here's the struggles I'm going through. You've never had that level of vulnerability. So you think that if I do to a public platform, you think that I'm bullshitting.
Right.
That's the best answer I can give. I don't know the answers. I wish I did.
No, that's a good answer. You said, quote, days like today, I wish I was a business owner that was only money driven and didn't care about who he hurt along the way, but I'm not. So I just want people to see that not every CEO out there is cold hearted and doesn't care when he or she have to lay people off. To many CEOs of small companies and larger ones, that, the people that work underneath them, sometimes they're just a number in many ways. They don't see, and in many cases, they don't care about the effect they have on these people's lives. You don't just wake up one day and develop empathy or a conscience. There isn't a magic pill you can take that is going to make someone decide that they're going to all of a sudden just truly start caring about people. You either are all in and you really care about people, or you don't. There's zero doubt in my mind after watching your video and the post that you put out there and everything, and now and talking to you here today, that the video was an outlet for you to help get it out for yourself and to let your people know how much you love them and care about them, right?
Yeah. I didn't start my business to get rich. I didn't hire people because I wanted to get rich off of their backs. I started the business because I wanted to help other business owners who had been where I'd been. I started the second edition of Hypersocial because of the first edition of Hypersocial, right? I was my previous ideal client. If I could hire myself as, later down the road for my Instagram company, for the LinkedIn company, I would have. And I didn't bring people on because I said, hey, you guys are going to help make me a multimillionaire. Right. No, it was, hey, this is what we're about. If you're about this, if you have a similar goal of life as us, of helping business owners and helping salespeople and helping, that kind of stuff, then let's get rich together. And while none of us are rich yet, we're on our way. And if we, I would much rather spend time with my dog living abroad than I would rather live in a mansion or, have a Ferrari. Like cool, it'd be great to have that stuff. I'd love to drive a Ferrari because I've always been a Top Gear fan and, always enjoyed the show. But I would much rather drive a, I don't know, 1995 Toyota Tacoma and have a great life with my dog and my girlfriend and my friends than it ever means for me to get rich.
You also took personal responsibility for this too. You acknowledge that, that those people might still be working under you. If you said you could have made some better decisions than you made. And, no one's ever going to say something perfectly, especially when emotions are involved. I mean, because things just come out, no one's ever going to everyone is going to ever agree with everything that you say or how you said it. You can say, maybe I should have said this or added this, but either way, there's always going to be out there that someone's going to take it wrong. Sure. That's going to happen. And especially in the social media age, where no matter what, it's going to happen. And you're human and you're going to make mistakes. You acknowledge that you did. Your goal is to convey that to people. It's really easy for, Monday morning quarterbacks to all of a sudden pop up on a post, and chime in with their quote thoughts, when the majority of them have never, ever been in the situation that you've been in right now, right?
From what I've seen, now I haven't been able to keep up with all the comments, or from
Sure.
what I've seen, a majority of the comments are from people who have never been in the position that I've been in.
Right.
To each their own. Like they can have their own positions, they can have their own thoughts, but they have never been through what I've been through.
Right. And until they do, some of them never will, but until they do, they have no idea exactly how they would have responded themselves.
I agree.
You're doing, in my opinion, you're doing your best to respond to people, I think you said, who've sent you, positive and encouraging messages to your inbox, your cell phone, your email. At the same time, you got a business to run still. I know it's not easy, but how have you stayed positive in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I always have a way of laughing at situations, and I think that I don't know. I don't know how the negativity has affected me so little. I wish I had like some advice or something to give on that, but I just know that there are people who are struggling in life and who just need help in some way. Not not saying professional help. I just know they need something out of life, and they feel like they're not getting what they want to get out of life, and that's why they have to come try to hate on others. Um, I forget the question. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a yeah. I mean, you answered everything fine there. I mean, it's just how do you stay positive in a negative situation?
Yeah, I mean, just one, seeing all the positive comments have been tremendous. Like nobody sees all of the messages that I get in my inbox. There are thousands of them of positive people in my inbox. The positive to negative rate is like 99.9% positive and like 0.1% negative. So having that, which I know are the people who want to have conversations, the people who actually want to talk one on one and not just talk so others can see what they
Right.
have. Excuse me. I know those are the ones that mean the most. And I know that those mean much more about who those people are and what they're saying comparatively to the others who they're doing it for whatever reason in order to put themselves on a higher pedestal than I am. And that I think that's the difference in terms of the positivity from the actual original post. Um, I'm very confident that the employees that we let go are going to go on to bigger and better things. I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a small backward step in their series of life of positive forward steps. Not every single step we get to take is to be forward, and it's important to keep moving forward, but you're going to slip up and you're going to go backwards a step and you're going to take a small step backwards, or you're going to fall down a small flight of stairs. I don't think this is a fall like that, but I think this is a small step backwards, and they're great humans, they're great people. Whatever they're going to do is going to be fantastic. And I think knowing that, and knowing the results that we bring our clients, and then knowing how much our clients appreciate us during times of COVID, where a lot of businesses are shut down, and being able to just sit and laugh about the craziness of it all and the serendipity and the weirdness of life, I think is just the positive in itself.
It sounds to me like you take what you do seriously, but you don't take yourself too seriously.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Wow, you made that sound so much better than I did.
Yeah, and that's a great way to be. I mean, I think that is definitely 100% allowed you to be able to brush some of this off of your shoulder and just to keep going. So many people have an opinion, and and they look at social media, and I get it and understand, because basically everyone now has a voice now to hide behind a phone or a computer screen and get to say what they want to say. In my opinion, you shouldn't have to apologize for being real. You don't have to apologize for being transparent and posting the truth. You've gotten, like you said, actual messages from business owners who do know exactly what this feels like and do know that the feeling just the worst thing in the world. And they said that they're right there with you. I know that support's had to help reassure you that, you did the right thing.
Absolutely. It's the reason the post hasn't gotten taken down, and why it will not get taken down, and why none of the negativity has affected me the way that it probably should have.
You know, even though, some people, may disagree, with you, there's nothing wrong with, you talked about the word vulnerable, being vulnerable. You said, quote, "This is the most vulnerable thing I will ever share." And I know you did go back and forth in your mind, whether or not to share, the video and everything, but you ultimately did. And for those that said it was selfish, they just have blinders on, in my opinion, and they don't want to see the truth, i.e., the negative world we live in. Being vulnerable means you had to have known you were putting your company and your career in a little bit of a risk here by being so vulnerable and transparent with everyone. I mean, there's that risk in that. You have risk in people that are already doing business with you, like thinking, oh, I don't know if I wanted to, yeah, they had to let a few people go. I don't know if I wanted to do it. And then future people, they had to let a few people go. I don't know if, is that company still going to be here in a while? So you did it anyway because your heart told you to do it and it had to be said, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And the people who do want to continue to work with us because of what we stand for and who we are, I think will become great clients and great relationships going forward. If you look at a misstep as a way of not doing business with us, that's okay. Like that's fine with me, because there are plenty of people who I'd rather do business with who understand it all. And we haven't lost a single client because of it, by the way.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
There's no clients have been like, wow, I saw that post. Are we, you guys, can we not be clients anymore? There's been none of that. And there's been I don't know if there's been anybody who's decided not to become clients of ours. I can't speak on that end, people who are in the sales process of some kind, or got messages from our team in terms of outreach, but then looked at my post and were like, no, there may be some of those. I can't identify any of them, but our entire sales team is booked solid this entire week because of there's people who we can help who want to do business with a company like ours.
Yeah. And I would doubt in my mind if there's anyone that didn't want to do business because of that. And because it just shows right there, the people that are already doing business with you, they know you, they trust you, and they're faithful and loyal to you. And if they thought that that guy who posted that video wasn't the real guy, they would have backed away from you. But they knew it, and they've known you, and they have a relationship with you and your team. And so they've seen that, and they know that that is a genuine post that you put out there. And so that, I commend you on that, to sticking to your guns, because you do not need to apologize for what you did. You mentioned a little bit earlier, talking about, I think, Noah, turning a negative into a positive. Noah was one of the guys that you had to let go. And, he went online to defend you when there was really no incentive to do it. He read your post and thought, quote, yep, there goes Braden, being way too honest on LinkedIn and putting his heart on the line. And then he also said, to those of you who would look to hire me, I'm only interested in working for people like Braden, who has a positive outlook on life. Truthfully, none of those negative opinions that are all out there and all the comments that you got, they even matter, because all that is needed to hear was what he just said right there. I heard, from one of the people, that actually affected, he's telling everybody what your true character is like right there. Because, people are hearing from a guy that it actually affected. He said if people want to reach out to him to discuss you, they can do that too. And obviously, because he has positive things to say about you, it just shows your character and who you truly are, man. And as I said, only those of that opinion more than anything should matter to anybody. And the negative situation is turned positive because, just like you just said, the guy's inbox, I saw your post earlier, it's full of all these job offers. So the negative turns into positive, right?
Yep, exactly. And it means, like you said, it means way more to me to hear that from Noah, of somebody who I've worked with. He's been at Hypersocial for 2 years now. Somebody who I've stopped in and met his family and met his daughters. And if he has something positive to say on the experience, then that goes well above anything that any person can say about me who has read one post and saw one picture of me crying, the post that went with it, and they think they know everything.
Right.
When they have no idea what's gone on in the back end. They have no idea what the private conversations are. Noah does. My team does. They're the ones who I spend every day with. I don't spend every day on LinkedIn. I spent way more time on LinkedIn than I wanted to the last few days.
Right.
And I already do spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, but I don't spend nearly that as much time on LinkedIn as I do with my team. And if they have positive things to say, then they know way better than anybody else.
The other day after all this happened, you posted this quote, I hope everyone here has fun this weekend. Life is hard. The world is a crazy place at the moment, but your friends, family, pets, hobbies, they want your focus. Put down your phone, leave it at home, live in the serendipity of life, dance in the rain, go for a hike, take your dog to the park. You need it. Life is short. See you Monday. Now that was a great post. Focusing on the things and people that matter the most, because there's so many people that have really lost sight of that in today, right?
I agree. I fear, and I don't know. I fear the amount of people that were bashing on me negatively while sitting in the same room as somebody that wished they had more of their focus. They're sitting on their phones, responding to all of this instead of just putting the phone down and conversing with the people next to you.
Right.
And I think that hurts the most, because we require our team, when they're on a Zoom call, they're on that Zoom call. We actually have we donate to, or we give micro loans to a company called Kiva. They allow you to do micro loans to small businesses all around the world. How we fund that is that if we ever catch our team spending their Zoom call, if they get distracted by responding to an email or sending a text or anything like that, they've got to put money into the pot. And that's been our biggest thing, is because we want to say, hey, we need to be present when we're present. We need to be working when we're working. We need to be at home when we're at home. We need to be with our friends when we're with our friends. I don't want people to respond to a Slack message of mine or an email of mine when they're supposed to be with their family. And the opposite. I don't want people messaging their, unless it's an emergency, of course. I don't want people responding to an email if we're on a Zoom call. Otherwise, we got to go backwards.
Right.
So living in that present is absolutely huge for me. And I wish people would put their phones down more and spend more time at home, because I spent it with friends. We watched the Columbus Crew game on Saturday night, and then, we both fell asleep like halfway through, but we were there watching together. We woke up the next day, we watched the Chelsea game. We played paper football together. We threw a football in his backyard. Like, that's where the best time that you'll never regret is spent. You're never gonna say, man, I'm more upset that I spent way too much time with my dog, or I spent way too much time focused on my friends, or talking to my friends, or spending time with my family. You'll never ever say that. And you will say, hey, I've spent too much time on social media. I've spent too much time on Instagram. I've spent too much time on LinkedIn. Those are regrets that you'll have if you've sat in the same room as people that you care about and have been on your phone. And I have been guilty of this. I've done it. It's been a journey of mine over the last, I would say, since I got back from my travel in 2017, to say, when I had friends who were making fun of me of like how much time I spent on my phone, like that we couldn't go anywhere without me being on my phone. And I said, what the hell? Like, how is that what I want to be known for?
Right.
And that changed it for me. So when I'm with my friends, phone goes away. When I'm with my family, phone goes away. Also, I'm sitting around on the couch with my mom watching TV show or whatever, I can bust out my phone. But for the most part, when I'm there, I'm there. And that's where I think a lot more people would be a lot happier in life if they spent more time living in the moment.
What are the most important lessons that you can say you've learned in your life?
That's up there on number one. Number two, I'd say, is, especially coming from the Midwest, where we're very passive aggressive, is that passive aggression destroys relationships. When you can actually be open and transparent, whether with your family, whether with your loved ones, whether with your friends, whether you're with your employees or colleagues, the more transparent, the more you can have the tough conversations, the better your relationship's going to be. So that's been one, is because I've dealt with it. I used to be very, very passive aggressive. I've started to have more of these real conversations of people who aren't meeting my expectations, or that I feel like I'm not meeting theirs, and I just have those conversations, and our relationships have all improved because of that. I think that's point number two. And I think point number three is something I shared earlier, which is, if you do the wrong thing with good intentions, you're going to get so much further than by doing the right things with the wrong intentions, or by doing good things with the wrong intentions.
Right.
And I think that's where social media goes wrong a lot, is people want to be like this, be kind, and no bullying and anti that stuff. It all feels like it's a good thing being done to just be seen, and being proven that you're against bullying, and being proven that you're against that kind of stuff. And that's where I think that whether my post is right or wrong, and I don't think it's wrong, but if it was wrong, it came from a good place. And I think that matters way more than these trends and these things of saying the right things. But why? Just because you want to make yourself feel better because of it. And I think that's lesson number three.
Braden, you're a good dude, man. Just so everyone knows, he did not reach out to me on LinkedIn. to try to get any more attention. I actually reached out to him through a private message and asked him to come on my podcast and talk about this, because after hearing it, and reading some of the comments, as I said, to me, I knew right away it was genuine. And like I said, you're never going to please everyone. And so many people want other people to fail. It's obvious to me that, your determination and your huge caring heart are not going to let that happen here. So I have a lot of respect for what you did. And I think, like I said, it was from the heart.
I appreciate that. That means a ton to me because you're right on. Like, no matter what I've done, it's been from the heart. And like I said, that doing it that way, I think will just return in karma and return in whatever, because that's the way that people should lead their lives.
Yeah. And I think that your name should not be the crying CEO. It should actually be the caring CEO.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because that's exactly that's exactly who you are. So I tell you, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today, and I definitely look forward down the line to having you back on again and talk about some positive things as your company continues to grow.
Yeah, let's do it for sure. I appreciate you having me, Michael. It's been fun.
All right,
really fun.
Thank you so much.